Hi everybody, welcome to today's ResNexus webinar on 5 actionable ways to increase your website traffic. Just a note to say that this recording will be, sorry, just a note to say that the recording of this webinar will be made available within a day or so. So if you can't watch the whole thing today, then it's okay. We'll send you a follow-up email and you can watch the rest of it at a later time. If you have got any questions at any point, you can go ahead and put them in the Q&A section whenever you have those questions, and we'll get to them at the end. I will caveat that with, I am not an SEO expert, but I am delivering this webinar on behalf of the experts. So if I don't know the answer, then I will find it out for you and email it to you. So 5 strategies to increase your website traffic. We're going to go over Google My Business or Google Business Profiles, advertising, local directories, backlinks profile, and on-site optimization. So first up is Google My Business. So what is the Google My Business profile? Google Business Profile, previously known as Google My Business, is a free tool that allows businesses to create a listing on Google Search and Google Maps. This listing provides key information about businesses such as their name, location, contact information, reviews, everything you would need to know about a business basically. So how does it help? There are several ways that a Google Business Profile helps to drive traffic to your website and your business as a whole. The first is increased visibility. So Google Business Profiles, or GBP for short, are often at the top of local search results, making it easier for customers to find you. If you're going to look up something like hotels near me, these are the first things that will come up. It also has direct integration with things like Google Maps, which make it easier for customers to confirm your location and then navigate to it. If people can find you easily, both online and then get directions to your hotel or your glamping site, that is going to be much easier for them, which means they're much more likely to choose you. Another benefit that is that your Google Business Profile tends to have a higher click-through rate. So in addition to being in a more prominent position on search results pages, Google Business Profile listings are more interactive and visual, which is more appealing to potential guests when they can see your business name, location, position on the map, as well as the reviews and the images. They're far more likely to interact with your business and then choose you. And then finally, it gives you enhanced credibility. So profiles with high ratings, lots of reviews, clear information, and lots of images help build trust in your business. And people always trust what they can see. So these very visually appealing profiles enhance trust, and people like to stay in places they can trust. So here's an example of what those Google Business Profiles look like. So I'm sure you all know what a Google profile is. So we're going to discuss how we actually use it. So first you need to either create or claim your Google Business Profile listing. Then you're going to need to confirm that your profile is complete and correct. You'd be amazed at how often we go in and we find that the phone number needs to be updated or even the address. And if the information is wrong, it's not going to help you. So confirm the most basic of information. I know for my own property, I've still got some out-of-date photos on our Google profile, which is on the list. And I know things get stuck in the back of the list, don't they? So just make sure all those things are up to date. Then again, you're going to upload those appealing images to your profile. So images of the outside of your campsite or your hotel, images of the rooms or the glamping pods or whatever you've got, and as many appealing images as you can. We always recommend getting some professional photos taken if you can. Then you're going to need to ask your guests to leave your reviews. So the more positive reviews you have, the more likely potential guests are to trust in your business and then make a reservation. I mean, we all do it. We all go to Google and look for those reviews and see, compare it to other places. So how do you find your own listing? So most of the time, Google's actually already created a listing for you. So all you have to do is go in and claim it. For example, for ResNexus, our Google business profile, we would just look it up, So you just look up your business name in the search bar and you'll usually find a profile on the right hand side of the page. If you look down there and you say own this business, that means you don't currently manage that business profile listing. So if that's the case, then click on own that business and it will prompt you to claim the business. So if it's already claimed by somebody, um, then you just need to request access. It's quite common if the property has recently been sold and you're the new owner, or if it's not claimed at all, Google will walk you through the process to claim that business. And if your business is brand new, you just need to create a profile, which is really surprisingly simple. You just go to Google Business Profile, just type that into the search bar, and it's the first thing that comes up. And you're going to go to the right hand corner and click sign in or get started. Sign in is in the case you actually have a profile and you just need to access it, and get started if you don't have a profile. And don't worry if you're not sure, just go ahead and get started, type it in, and if the profile exists, then it will come up. So now that you've got a profile, let's talk about how you can maximize the results that that profile will give you. So first, as I said earlier, fill out your profile completely. The more information you can add, the better. The second is to do your keyword research. So knowing basic SEO such as keywords is going to help you show up results that you want to show up for. So knowing, do I want to show up for hotels? Do I want to show up for campsites? Do I want to show up for accommodation? Being as specific as possible will help you show up for your guests. Then do your best to write your profile description using those terms. Next, this goes along with what we were talking about with the profile description. Use high quality photos and videos. Write a great description and swap them out seasonally to keep things fresh and new. People like to see new content. We're really visual creatures. So the better the images and the videos, the better interaction you're going to get from your guests. And finally, encourage that interaction. So ask your guests to leave you reviews and respond to them. It's so important if somebody leaves you a Google review to reply to that review and say, thank you so much for a review, or, whatever, try and engage in a conversation, whether it's positive or negative. Enable that Q&A and messaging for even more interactions, because it's easier for people to get hold of you, and the more likely you are to actually attract them to you. If you've got all these reviews, some of them, if they're not all 5-star reviews, and someone goes on and can't see any response from the host, they don't get that engagement from you. So our next section is advertising. So we're going to start at the most basic, which is pay-per-click marketing. So pay-per-click or PPC is any kind of online advertising in which the advertiser, in this case you, pays for every click that their ad gets. Some popular pay-per-click platforms are, of course, Google Ads, Meta, so that's Facebook and Instagram, Amazon ads, Microsoft or Bing ads, YouTube ads, TikTok, LinkedIn, so kind of all the social medias and the search engines will let you advertise. So how do they help? Well, it's advertising, so it's pretty straightforward. Ads get you immediate visibility, and once your ads are live, they start getting views. So it's a bit like in the previous section, we're just going to start by actually creating an ad account. And then you're going to create your ads, set a budget, and then periodically check in on them. So moving into SEO section, this one covers the next 3 areas that we mentioned earlier. So the following 3 actionable ways to increase traffic. But first, we need to give an overview of what SEO is. So search engine optimization, or SEO, is the process of optimizing your website so that it appears higher on search engine results like Google. This is a bit of an oversimplification because over time, SEO has gotten more and more far-reaching. Google Business Profiles are actually an example of SEO. As you may have noticed, that's not an actual website, but it often connects to it. So this is where SEO has started branching into all sorts of areas. So there are many types of SEO. For starters, we're going to focus on off-site SEO, and this is going to include both link building and local SEO. So first of all, our local directories. We'll just go over a few of these directories. Basically, think of them like yellow pages. So they're websites that compile and organize business information to make it easier to find the services that you're looking for. So popular examples are like TripAdvisor, Yale.com, Expedia, Hotels.com, HipCamp, Post Unusual, and even Google Business Profiles. That's technically a directory. So how do they help? Well, directories help in the same way that Google Business Profiles are, or or Business Profiles do. That's why it's a directory. The thing is that most directories are a little more focused on a single location. So you can think of it like a city's business directory or an industry's business directory. So Google Hotels focusing on accommodation makes it much easier for guests to find what they're specifically looking for without having to sort through pages and pages and pages of irrelevant things. So some of the ways they help, once again, they increase your visibility. So they increase your online presence, making it easier for your guests to find you. They also enhance your credibility. So most directories do their basic due diligence and making sure that you are a real business in the industry that you claim you're in. They'll also often encourage customers to leave reviews to further increase your visibility and credibility, and they make contacts much easier. They usually have direct information like your phone links, your website link, and messaging tools. Once again, the easier it is for people to get hold of you, the more likely they are to engage with you. So, how do we use them? First and most obvious is you're going to find directories relevant to your business. Then you're going to submit your business information to those directories. And then once it's approved, you're going to set up your profile and ask guests to leave reviews on your listings. The great news about ResNexus is that we take care of a lot of this for you through the integrated OTAs. So if you already have a ResNexus profile with us, you already have a whole list of directories that you can submit your information to. So we've already done a lot of the research for you. But if you need a little bit more or want to expand further, you can use local SEO tools. So one tools that the ResNexus digital marketing team use is called SEMrush Local. This can help you find, create, and manage a whole local directory profile. So this is one of our clients whose name has been blocked out for privacy purposes. This is their current local profile. They have been submitted to 68 listings. 60 of them are now connected. One is submitted and not yet processed. 3 are processed and 4 are unavailable. So this means that they either had duplicate listings or we removed them and they're not relevant enough for them to be submitted to that directory. This just makes it so much easier to find and manage those accounts. And even gives you the tools to manage things like reviews. All in all, highly recommend it, but it's not a free tool, so be aware of that. So in addition to local profiles, another part of the offsite SEO is backlink building. So what are backlinks? Backlinks are links that other websites use to link back to you. They're exactly what they say they are. So some examples of backlinks are actually the directory listings of a media that mentions you and includes a hyperlink. So recommendations or reviews that include a link to your business, comments on other sites that include a hyperlink. So really it's any type of link that goes back to your website. And it ends up looking something like this. So as you can see, again, we're using ResNexus as an example. So ResNexus are the blue dot in the middle, and that's our website. And all of those other dots are examples of websites that are linking back to us in some way, creating this very complicated network. So they help because we can think of backlinks as like recommendations, and websites that give them to you are in your network. So SEO is all about building your online presence and reputation. So the more high quality links that you have, the better your online reputation becomes and the more likely search engines are to promote you. So now that you know what backlinks are, we're going to talk about how to build your backlink profile. So first start with a backlink analysis tool like SEMrush again. Um, so once again, we're going to use ourselves as an example here. So as you can see, we've got over 6.9 thousand referring domains. So those are websites that are referring to us. And across those domains, we have 260,000 links. This means that we're getting over 1.8 million visits per month. A large part is due to backlinks. So once you have an idea of what kind of backlinks you have and what kind of profile you have, you can also use tools like SEMrush to look for new backlink opportunities. So one tool that they provide is something called the backlink gap. So this allows you to put in your domain, so in our case, resnexus.com, and then list a handful of competitors that you would like to see how you're measuring up to their backlink profile. So what this tool will then do is give you a list of potential backlinks that are linking to your competitors but not linking to you. And then once you have a list of prospective backlinks, you're going to go ahead and start your outreach. So the most simple way to do this is you're just going to send emails asking for links. It's very old school, but it does work. So now I'm moving on to the on-site SEO. So before we talked about the off-site SEO and the branches under that, now we're going to talk about on-site SEO, and there are two main categories there, content and technical SEO. So first talking about on-site optimization. As a whole, you're going to try and optimize your website to be found on search engines like Google. So the goal of website optimization is to make sure that it's in tip-top condition in terms of its build and its content that involves some technical SEO. So this is the basic health and structure of a website. It's the build itself. So one way that you can check this is by using any sort of website auditing tool. So this one is a technical SEO tool, again provided by SEMrush, and it gives a general scan of the health of the website. So now you're never going to see 100%, so don't worry too much, as long as your health is not below 90%. Then it's going to break down some issues it's found with your site so you have ideas about how to fix them and further improve the technical aspects of your website. So if you don't want to have to pay for a tool like SEMrush, a lot of CMSs, which would be your content management system or your website builder, will have a free tool available for you to get a very basic scan. So this one here is one quite commonly found in a builder called Duda. This one's going to give you a scan on some of the basic things like how many links are on your site, are they broken, is there any missing meta tags or H1 tags. These are really helpful for just that basic technical overview. So some common technical updates that you can check for and do on your own without a scan is checking your meta tags, descriptions, and alt tags on all your pages. So all tags should be 70 characters or less. So that would be your meta tags and your alt tags. This is an alternative description for your images, and your descriptions for meta descriptions should be 160 characters or less. All images should have an alt tag that describes the image so that if image can't load or people can't see it, they know what the image is supposed to be. This is also important because crawlers, that's Google bots, they can't actually see images the way that we do, so we have to tell them what the image is. All your pages should also have an H1 title, so that's the header on the page telling your viewers, so telling your guests as well as the bots what the page is about. You should also have a sitemap and a robots.txt file. So a sitemap is to help search engines like Google understand what's on the site. So like what pages are on the site, and the robots.txt file instructs crawlers about where they can and cannot crawl. So if there are any pages that you don't want the crawlers to have access to, such as a credit card processing page, this is what the robots.txt file is for. Another thing you're going to want to check is the links on your site, because just as other websites link back to you, you're also linking to other websites and you're also linking pages to each other within your site. You want to make sure that all of these links are operating, and if any of them are broken or not directing properly, you're going to want to go in and fix those. So on that note, you do want to have both internal, so links within your website to other pages in your site, and external links. These links should go to other secure websites and should be fully functional. A lot of people have this outdated understanding about external links being giving away your domain authority, and that's not entirely how it works. We have to remember that part of building a network, building your backlink profile, means that you need to link to other people as well. You can't just take all and not give it away. You have to build that reputation by building your network. It's a two-way street. Another very important aspect that you'll want to consider when you're doing your technical updates is to consider your website loading speed. There are some free sites, speed testing tools that you can use just to get an idea of how quickly your site's loading, and that should be fairly quick and efficient. If your website's on the slower side, there are some things you can do. One is to try compressing image files and videos to decrease the loading time. Another would be to eliminate extra pages. There's some sites that have a lot of zombie pages that don't need to be there. So if you could remove those, or you can just even ask a web developer what they can do to increase the site speed. So we're going to move on to site content. So search engines like Google love content in the form of text, images, and videos on the site. It shouldn't be all words because they like to see that the website is current, well maintained, and full of relevant and useful information. So once again, we're talking about keyword research. Keywords are how you get found in search engines like Google. So knowing what keywords you're currently ranking for and what keywords you want to rank for will guide you in creating a content strategy. And I'll use myself an example on our previous website that we had. I'd put geodesic dome glamping everywhere. So I was always on about geodesic dome. And when ResNexus redid my website, they said, you do know that nobody searches geodesic dome because nobody knows what it is. So the most searched term is glamping pod with hot tub. So if you know that that is your most searched term for glamping or whatever it is, you need to get those keywords in there. Otherwise, people aren't going to find you. Nobody is finding us from geodesic dome because nobody searches, let's go and stay in a geodesic dome. So I thought, I've got a good website, I've got the right things all on it, I've got glamping in Somerset, but I was putting the wrong keywords in, and so this is why I feel it's so important. So there are some tools that you can use. Once again, SEMrush is the one that we use and the ResNexus team using the digital marketing. But MA is also an option. So to get started, as I mentioned, you're going to want to find out what you're currently ranking for. So one way to do this is to go to a tool like SEMrush and ask them to do an organic research on your current site. So as an example, using our website, we typed in resnexus.com and asked them to analyze the root domain, and it came up with 2.8 thousand keywords that we're currently ranking in the top 100 for. And it will break down that information for you. So it will list the keyword, the intent behind the keyword, your current average position, how much traffic that keyword gets, what the search volume is, all sorts of information once you have an idea of the keyword you're ranking for. And you can also use tools like SEMrush to look for keyword gaps, similar to the backlink gap, where you would compare your domain to your competitors, or use a tool like the Keyword Magic tool to give you a list of ideas of keywords that you currently aren't ranking for, or keywords that you're a little further down the list on that you'd like to be ranking for. So once you've got a good idea of where you're currently at and where you want to be, you can start to match the content of your website to your intent. So for example, if the keywords you want to rank for are bed and breakfast in Salem, Utah, or the Lake District, you want to make sure that the content on your site and your target pages match the intent to rank for that keyword. Some examples of where you would want to do this is in the meta tag and the meta description, the alt tags, the H1, and of course the other content on this page. So to do this, we want to make sure we keep it sounding natural. There is an old school method of SEO called keyword stuffing. I don't know if you remember that phrase being bandied around a while ago. And it's the practice of shoving a keyword like bed and breakfast in the Lake District into the content as many times as you can fit it in. And that's no longer best practice. Now you want to keep it sounding natural because Google's got smarter. Google now understands that bed and breakfast, B&B, or B-A-N-D-B, and even boutique hotel that serves breakfast all mean the same thing. So Google's focusing more on the intent behind the keyword and the searches rather than the exact phrasing itself. Google's job is to give people something valuable. It's to give them what they're looking for, which means that you want to make sure your website is something valuable to the user. This means that you need to write for your target audience, aka your guests, rather than just the bots. So keep it human focused and also keep it fresh. Search engines like shiny new content, so make sure that your website is current. Regularly update your website with new images, videos, and copy. This is especially great for your industry because you can update them seasonally. So if you have any spring specials or you change your decor for the spring or for the winter, the autumn, refresh the site with those images. If you have a lot of nearby attractions that encourage people to come and visit your area, write about them. Tell people about them. Encourage them to come and see it. Encourage them to write their own content about it and link back to you. There is so much you can do in our industry that puts you ahead of a lot of other people, and this is what we're talking about. So monthly blogs and event pages are an excellent way to keep your content fresh on your site. If you host regular events, whether they're concerts or weddings, then write about them. And again, updating images and content seasonally will suffice if you don't have time or money to pay someone to do those monthly updates. We know it's a huge commitment, so even just going in once a quarter to refresh everything for a new season, it still shows Google that you're committed. So that is my very quick summary of SEO. If you are thinking about having a new website, please feel free to talk to ResNexus. We've got some great deals on for the UK. Like especially if you're brand new to this and you're kind of wanting to get started, we've got a £99 one-page website which gives you loads of information to your guests, and it then gives you the book now button so you can take it to the ResNexus booking engine. Or we can do a template website for 399 or a full custom website for 2,799. So we've got loads of different options of websites. It's really affordable to get going. And then they can help do all those bits of keyword research like they did for me. It's massively helped just having those correct keywords and not sending people down the wrong path or just not being found because they didn't know what a GD's dome is. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions. I'm just going to see if there have been any questions, but I don't think there have been. So it might be that you're watching this back on the recording, and if you are, then please feel free to just send me an email or get in touch with ResNexus. So it's vjones@resnexus.com. And yeah, I'm happy to take back any questions that you might have to the team who are the experts. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us for this ResNexus webinar. Again, also, if you have any topics that you'd really like us to cover, so if there's anything you'd like to see from our ResNexus webinars, then please do drop me a line. We would love to get the kind of webinars that you really want to see. So thank you very much, and we will see you next month.